I think I was able to mark each one of you, and so I expect you to at least know where you lie when it comes to question 2. And it is intentional for me to start with question 2 because it's one of the questions where we should score highly, and it should be the deal breaker between passing and failing to make it to that 50% mark. So I'll discuss this question 2 format today. I'll give you now 2 questions for you to try out. That will be the first question will be on ethics, and I'll mark it. Then the other one will be a question 3 format for you to work out. I mark, and we discuss the same in our next session. So the plan is today you appreciate the format that you must follow when approaching question 2, so that when I share with you that question today, you are able to progress well, answer, and I mark. However, we won't be revising that one. But you try out another question will be on question 3 format, which you attempt, I mark, and we'll go through that one next time we meet on Thursday next week. I'm going to pack question 1, which is consolidation and all, for May intentionally, because you need to keep afresh of the concepts, and so discussing it now won't be of help to you guys. So I'll discuss the concepts in May. However, you have the revision pack. It has a number of sessions where I've discussed consolidation concepts, so you can be using that resource as we wait for May to go deep into question 1. So for the month of April, I'll focus on question 2, question 3, and question 4, so that we have May to concentrate fully on consolidation. So that is the plan. Since you all attempted the question, can I hear from you? What was the major challenge? Where do I have to touch to make sure that you guys are now ready to attempt any question 2 format, and so you can utilize or you can get most of the marks? I'll start with you, Lillian. What was the main challenge?
Okay. Good evening. My challenge was on, I think, when you marked my work, the the that second part of advising appropriate actions, I think I interpreted it wrongly. Instead of advising the accountant, I advised the company. So that was one of my challenge on that question. But for the first part, I think okay. I didn't find any challenge.
Great. In fact, I know there's another person who also had the same challenge. I'll be discussing that point. When it comes to action, we should focus on what the question has really asked for, so that we don't misfire. Okay, I'll go to I'll go to Daniel. Elena, you're welcome. Let me first hear from Daniel. I think someone said they're traveling, so they can't be able to speak. Okay, let me go to Ibrahim. Ibrahim, how did you find the question? What was the challenge? Mutiaba?
Everyone.
Mm, good evening.
So my major challenge was in following, how should I call it, a chronological order of answering this part C, especially on the action points there. I would see them, but again, arranging them in a format that is suitable and more presentable was hard for me.
Okay, great.
So that's it.
Okay, so for you, it is the overall flow of the approach on how to answer question 2, right? We should be able to discuss that.
Yes.
Yes, we should be able to discuss that during this call. But before that, I think let me give a chance to. Okay, maybe you can read from Daniel. Daniel says, my challenge was on approach, especially how to technically respond as a consultant. General selection of language to use. Let me hope it is not you, Daniel, who was saying, I see, I use. We don't do that in SBR. But I'm sure through this revision session, you should be able to appreciate the approach that we use when drafting our answers. That is very, very important because you're writing technical papers to the entities, so you don't need to put yourself into the picture. Okay, so I'll come back to Virunji and Rachel, but let us hear from Elena. Elena is one of our students who performed so well in her paper in March. So I found it really beneficial for you guys to hear from her so that as you start your journey, you're able to probably use some of her tricks and what helped her. Key to note, she's a first time pass student and maybe she can still tell you more. Over to you, Elena. You have at least 10 minutes or more for you to talk to the junior students, and maybe congratulations upon passing SBR. It is a heavy paper, but you managed. Over to you,
Thank you.
Elena.
Thank you, Ivan. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for everything you did for us during the March sessions. It was one of the reasons as why I was able to pass the paper first time. So I'm just going to go into what really helped me. The very first one was technical articles. I read somewhere in the examiner reports that there is a reason as to why they are there on the website. They put them there for a reason. And I remember my paper had a number on sustainability, and everything I wrote came from the technical article. I didn't find it anywhere else other than there. There's a way it summarizes the work better than the study hub. So make sure to read all the technical articles on the website. Then examiner reports, I read them and I tried to understand why people fail, the mistakes that they made. So I tried to avoid them. And while I was going through them, I found out that there were some numbers that were repeating themselves. So I made sure to take note of where people go wrong so that I don't go wrong. And then I watched the mock debrief. There's always a debrief on the website, and it helped me find tips of how to finish the paper in time and things like that. Then also advice I got from Ivan to summarize all the notes, all the standards. Make sure you summarize them and they are easy for you to go through. Then do everything as advised by Ivan. It will really make a difference. And then another trick that I found is that you know that you're doing the right thing if you can find the answers in the scenario. So if they bring maybe IFRS 13 and you're seeing it, like the criteria is there, you know that you're doing well. Make sure to organize your work with headings and straight to the point, short paragraphs to make it easy for the examiner to see and put a mark. So that is something you should practice whenever you're starting to write an answer. Put your headings, put your points, and make sure they are easily seen. And then another thing that helped me for number one, as I was solving part A and part B, I was putting in the answers to part C because part C is just adjustments. I realized that if I finish part A and B and then I go to C, I might leave out some things and then I'll take a lot of time. But whenever I finish something in part A, I would go down to C and make the adjustment. That way, I was able to save time. And then know at least 80% of every topic. Please don't spot. Make sure you've read all the standards they have given you. You have an idea, because if you don't, you might be outspotted. The paper is quite wide and the examiner spreads it. And then practice under timed conditions. Like Ivan always says, please practice on the platform. This will also boost your confidence. Yes, Ivan, unless you have Any questions for me?
Yes, that I think the floor is open to the students. You've provided your guidance so they can ask. I think Mutiaba, you had a question before she completed.
Yes, I have a question to her. How was she able to manage maybe work and books? Because it gets tight and fixing work into practicing, then reading. It's quite a lot and really need this.
Okay, for me, what I did was I got sometime every day to do something. So because I had summarized my notes, I was not really reading them. I was just perusing through and then do the numbers. So my whole idea was practice. So read, understand the concept, and then practice. Then in the end, I think in the last week, that's when I started to go over the notes, just to remember them. But set aside time every day. It makes a big difference. I would wake up very early in the morning at around 3. For me, when I sleep at 3, I'm awake. So I would use like 1 hour to do something. And then during the day, I'm doing my work. Yes.
Okay, that's another question for Elena. I think that is a good one.
I have one more. Did you do any discussions? I mean, group discussions, whether holding them on Zoom or Google Meet or physical, and were they helpful? And how did you manage to to convert if they were there to convince people to join in and push on?
Okay. So for me, unfortunately, I was unable to have any discussions with anyone. And most times with these professional papers, people have different schedules and times. So it's quite challenging to find people to discuss for you. So I would do the numbers, and in case of any challenges, I would ask Ivan. Just go to WhatsApp and ask him. So for me, no, I didn't. I wasn't able to get any discussion groups.
Yes, Daniel Birunji.
Yes, thank you very much, Irina, for the tips. I wanted to ask how your revision plan was. Did you do all the numbers in the kit? How many past paper questions did you practice? Yes.
Yes, so Daniel, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a timeline of I should have done this. So while I was, because for me, I even joined late for the January sitting. So I had to cover everything in a short time so that I could be finished up for revision time. So what I did was I did all the numbers because the way the LMS is set up, you when you finish a topic, they give you a number to do. So I just did those numbers and then Ivan would mark. So I would try to improve it, like my writing and how I paraphrase everything. And then when I finished, I started doing papers like mocks, like the ones on the platform, because I was trying to manage my time. So I would give myself maybe 3 hours and then I write. And I can tell you, I never finished any of the numbers, but it helped me. So for me, I didn't have a schedule because I didn't have enough time. Yes.
Okay, another question for Elena. Elena, I'm going to show them some of our conversations just to inspire them. You realize that Elena joined in on 20th of January, and the paper was in March, right? So how many months are those?
Roughly 1.5.
Yes, I'm going to challenge them. Please allow me to share some of the discussions. I know it will really help them, especially when you used to send questions to me. I answer. You are really challenging, but I'm glad you really insisted and made it. Another question for Elena before I let her go for her errands. Anyone with questions to Elena? Okay, I think there are no more questions. Elena, thank you so much for sharing your experience and wish you the very best for the rest of the papers.
Thank you, Ivan, for having me. I wish everyone the very best.
Okay, so please, I want just to inspire you. And I think she has talked about reading technical articles, examiner reports. Those are things that I discussed in the introductory part of SBR, and I'll keep repeating the same things, but go back to that first video where I where I provide available resources to students. That's why you should focus. Okay, just to inspire you. Uh, in case there's any change, please let me know. Are you able to see? Are you able to see the WhatsApp messages that I'm trying to show? Please confirm. Are you able to see them?
Yes, I can see them.
Okay. You see, she texted me on 20th of January. That's when she registered on the LMS. She didn't have anything. She started covering. You see, she even created accounts. I gave her the same way I do with you guys. Now she came through. There was a change in presentation. This is 23rd of January. I explained to her what the presentation was about, but I told her focus on understanding the standards at the moment. You see that? Because she knew nothing literally. So she had to understand what are the standards in SBR. Because that was very important. Okay. So she continued working out. Okay. She continued. Here now, she asked, while answering questions, is it allowed to use double entry language? Of course, I responded. Then you see how she kept engaging me. This is 28th. But how many of you tried that exercise I always give? There's the very first exercise I give. Introduction to SBR. You see, she asked. I always challenge students. So when I realized that okay, she didn't know, I explained. But I told her, please, what do you know? She went and researched, came back with a response. I told her, go and read the article here and answer my question again. Because that was the only way I knew she would get the concept. You get students, eh? It's not that I'm penalizing you. She did. She went and read, came back with a response. I told her that is good now. I explained. You see, students? Some of you, I challenge you with these questions, counter questions, you just give up. You see? You just give up and disappear. But she didn't give up. I explained to her, we continued moving the journey. Then she asked. I explained. I'm stuck. Of course, I think she had done something. Then I had to clear her. These are a few things. You see, this is my question. I told her, okay, can you please share the question? I told her it was a good question, but let me share with the group to see if guys could answer it. I see no one was answering in the group. I drafted an answer for her. I told her, please read through. And she understood the concept. You see, she kept sending through questions. This one here, I'm reviewing concept of goodwill. Where's the steps? You see? Here she was also asking questions. I'm unable to start my mock. When I click start, it does not take me. You see, she was able to get that. She shared the question, I answered. You see, what else? She sent another question. You see, pre-mock marked. Some of you, I give mocks, you don't do. You get students? I give mocks, you don't do what? You don't attempt. She attempted. I marked, gave her feedback. Now this is the next time now she's coming through. You see, with the 58. Do you think getting 58 is easy? Is it easy, Daniel Birunji?
Sir, from the papers I've done,
Mm,
even scoring a 50 alone,
yes.
it is a miracle.
But it is not a, you see, it comes from hard work, right?
Mm.
You see, she joined on 20th of January, not so? The paper is always around 6th of March, right? She barely has a month. She had barely a month to cover the content. How about you has covered all the contents for I don't know how many months? Why not now to practice? You get it? The challenge is some of you, you look for information from different sources. And so at one point you get confused. Which approach should I take? But if you see, for her, she only focused on the LMS. She focused on the LMS, covered the standards, but along the way, she used to do the questions. Most of you, you just skip those questions. And the trick is, students, you attempting the question and you wait for me to go to the LMS and mark is challenging. You have to be proactive. You do a question, send in my WhatsApp group. I always respond. Or I challenge you to go and read more. You come back and we discuss on one-on-one on WhatsApp. Where needed, I push it to the group to see if I can try to encourage discussions on the group. If I see no one is responding, I respond. So if you take that approach, it will be very easy for you. And I'm glad I'm talking about this when it is still early. And I did it intentionally because the last sitting I only had in the month of February. Imagine by that it was very challenging for her because always revision sessions start in Feb. So she was maybe almost just halfway of the syllabus. Now I'm starting revision. But she managed to handle the two. She even did the pre-mock. So that is the kind of thing you must do. I think someone asked, how did you manage work and studying? She told you she spent so much time on practicing rather than reading the content, right? And that is the approach. There is nothing in reading that content over and over again. But there is gold in reading a question, try it out, then debrief from the exam kit. That's where the gold is. You get to understand the standards through practice rather than reading the standard content itself. Are we aligned, students? Make sure you read all the technical articles. Make sure you read examiner reports, at least 4 of them. Make sure you practice. Practice, practice, practice. Those who remember my introductory video, I showed even my photos when I was still in India. How I used to focus on practicing and summarizing everything that I used to come across. At the end of the day, you become a champion. Alright, now we can focus on our question. What is the approach for question 2? I think I had to hear from, was it Rachel? Rachel, what was your challenge before I look at the question, because that is important. Then I'll come to Elizabeth. And finally, Ruben. Yes, Rachel.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Evan. I'm sorry I wasn't able to attempt this one. I had just started viewing the lectures this week.
Yes, Rachel, yes. But have you been encouraged by Elena's story?
Yeah, truly, I've been inspired and encouraged. You know, I was a bit nervous, worried that I joined really late, but when I saw Elena and had her experience, I'm really inspired and ready to go.
Focus on, I think we already discussed, right? Focus on covering the standards.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Or can we hear from Elizabeth, then Ruben finally? Elizabeth, what was your challenge in this question that I shared? Okay, maybe she's unable to unmute. Okay, Ruben, the coin is with you. What was the challenge?
Uh, yes, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Also, I just was able to get in touch yesterday. I was able to just peruse through a question, but not yet been able to attempt it.
Okay, fine. All right, so when it comes to question 2, we expect ethics and accounting standards, where we have to deal with ethical principles of the accountant, and then 2, we must be able to explain some of the requirements within the standards. So what is the approach? Make sure you are very clear with the key facts in the scenario. SBR, you get marks if you apply from the scenario rather than thinking about points out of the blue. Always the answers are in the scenario. So pick out all the key points or relevant facts. Pick out the key facts from the scenario. That is, read and see what is happening. From what is happening, you are able to identify any challenges either on the application of the standards or in the overall accounting profession, how someone is conducting themselves. So it is important for you to have all the key facts identified in the scenario. Then, after that, make sure that you've identify all ethical principles breached. And when I talk about ethical principles breached, here I mean, of course, with relevant facts, I'm talking about standards. Any issues with application of a given accounting standard. Where there are no such standards, of course, there will be what we call accounting dilemmas. So if there are no standards, you can talk about accounting dilemmas. What is not right in what is happening within the scenario? If it's not a misapplication of an accounting standard, it is an accounting dilemma in terms of ethical conduct of the person within the scenario. Then after that, identify all the ethical principles breached. Can you remind me, Daniel Birunji, what are those ethical principles that we have for accountants?
We have like integrity.
You're saying integrity, okay?
Then we have professional competence and due
Profession,
care. And
professional competence,
professional competence and due care.
okay?
Mm, I remember those ones. For now, the question was spot on.
Okay, I'll go to Ruben. Can you give me 201?
For ethics on this, usually ethical principles, I use a mnemonic called PICO, which starts with professional behavior.
That's a good one. We have what to call, is it POCCI?
PI,
Oh, for you, you changed it. Okay, PI.
yes, PI, PICCO,
Okay, I used
yes,
okay. So for you use Pico. Perfect.
yes. Yes, professional behavior, integrity.
Professional behavior, that's a new one. Wait, 1 second. Professional behavior. Okay,
Integrity,
we have integrity,
confidentiality,
confidentiality,
then yes, professional competence and undue care, then objectivity.
then objectivity. Objectivity. Please remember, having these on your fingertips does not give you the marks. It's the ability to identify them. It is the ability to identify them in the scenario that can help you earn the what? And the marks. But for guidance purposes, yes. Let us proceed with I'm going to explain each one of them, don't worry. So, first step, identify the facts. You can even better do all these steps at once. I will show you when I apply on the question. Identify the facts. Number 2, identify all ethical principles breached. Number 3, make sure that you look out for all ethical threats. Or I can say threats to the principles. All threats to the principles in the scenario. Who can tell me what are those threats to the principles that we have? Someone? What are the threats to the principle of objectivity or to the principles that we have? That is important.
We have self-interest.
We can use also a mnemonic. It's called SAFI, right?
Yes.
SAFI. Okay. Someone is telling us we have self-interest. Self-interest. Okay.
Self-review.
Self-review. Okay.
Advocacy.
Advocacy. Perfect. Then the other one. What is F?
Familiarity.
Yes, familiarity. 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 Then I. Guys, I.
Intimidation.
Intimidation. So, we have our facts identified. What is not happening? What is happening that is not right? What are the principles breached? What are the threats to the principles within the scenario? Then number 4 is going to be actions available. I'll call them available safeguards. Because of course, yes, we know someone is facing some threats, and so how can they? What are the available safeguards for them to keep safe within the requirements of the principles of or the code of conduct of an accountant? And we agreed that when discussing safeguards, we start with internal safeguards. You start with internal safeguards. And when I say internal safeguards, I mean, when I talk about internal safeguards, I mean discussing with the person. You get? Can you discuss with the maybe management? Can you discuss with the person who is rating, who is causing, or who is subjecting you to the threats. In most cases, just the accountant being pressurized by the finance director, or it is the accountant against management. So can you discuss with these guys and tell them, okay, this is what is happening, can we do this? Otherwise we have issues as the business. So you discuss with concerned party. Then if that is not enough, this guy is not helping you, you can discuss with, we can talk about directors most, or you can talk about the external auditors. External auditors. And in most cases can also be the other directors. Other directors. Based on the scenario, how it is phrased or framed. Other directors. If that is not possible, then you can move on to the next level of safeguards, which is external safeguards. Oh, I think I have issues with my Windows. External safeguards. Oh, this is amazing. Safeguards, including discussing with external auditors. Oh, sorry, discussing with SCCA. You seek guidance from SCCA. You can also seek guidance from the company lawyers. This is amazing. I don't know how I'm going to solve this problem. Just have to work on my Windows. Discuss with company lawyers. But I'm going to show you practically how this can be phrased based on the scenario. And now what we call last resort safeguard. Last resort. Wow. Last resort safeguard. Which is resignation. But of course, in the scenario, if someone is facing challenges of professional competence, would you tell them to discuss the issue with the board? Of course, you advise them to go for what? For training, right? Or to attend CPD's continuous professional development courses for SCCA, or to go for a refresher on the standards. We need to provide practical actions. If someone is having issues with their competency, then just tell them to go for the refresher training. If someone is having issues with the integrity, don't tell them to go to meet the board. Tell them to remind themselves of the code of conduct and how they should treat themselves as accountants. Do you get it, Daniel? Of course, this looks theoretical until when we apply it. I think was it Daniel who said he had issues with the flow? Please, this is always the flow. And if you follow this, you should be able to get all the what? All the marks. Let us now apply. Any question for me? Any question for me, students? Someone respond? Maybe for the benefit of, yes, please. Any question?
No question for now.
Yes, okay. Maybe for Rachel, when it comes to ethical principles, the principle of integrity means you be straightforward and honest, right? That if something is
Yes.
not right, please be open and tell us something is not what? Is not right. That in all your professional dealings, you are honest and straightforward. If you see something is wrong, point it out, other than keeping quiet. Then professional competence, that is easy. You are expected to have the required knowledge and skill to perform your duties. And so, if you do not have the required skill, if you don't know the accounting standard, and you apply it wrongly because you do not know, then the principle of professional competence is challenged. Then the issue of due care, it talks about you should be able to protect the interest of the owners of the business and therefore act diligently as per the available accounting standards. That's why it's called due care. First of all, know what to do, and thereafter make sure that whatever you're doing is in line with what you know that is correct as per the given accounting standard. Now, when it comes to professional behavior, you are expected to follow all relevant or applicable accounting, in fact, applicable laws and regulations of the country. If there is any regulation that is applicable in your industry, make sure that you apply it to dot. Then confidentiality, you know, as accountants, you have access to confidential information, so you are not expected to expose it. You are not supposed to discuss any confidential information of an entity with someone else. And then about objectivity, make sure that you are not compromised in terms of no biasness in what you're doing. There's no undue influence. There's no conflict of interest. In whatever you're doing, be objective. No bias, no conflict of interest, no undue influence. You don't do something because someone has told you to do it. You stay focused on what you know and provide guidance to those that want to derail you. Is that okay, students? When it comes to principles, because I need you to remember those definitions, because if you use them in your explanation, it becomes easy for the examiner to give you the mark. I told you just listing integrity won't give you the mark, but applying the issue of straightforward, being honest in what they are doing in your explanations would make the examiner give you the mark. The accountant should have the required professional knowledge to know that IAS 38 requires them to treat this and this as this. Therefore, they are failing on their professional due care. And also under professional behavior, we are not supposed to discredit the profession. That is very important. You respect the laws and regulations. Make sure that you don't discredit our profession, because it is our professional responsibility to protect it as accountants. Now, when it comes to threats, let me also run through them very fast. Self-interest, it means whichever result that will come out of the decision is going to be for your own benefit. If it is misstating revenue so that profits are high, and at the end of the day you get a bonus, that is self-interest. If it is recruiting someone in the accounting department because they are your friend or they are your relative, that is self-interest. If it is manipulating the accounting standard requirements so that you get a permanent job, that is also self-interest. So those are the scenarios you must find in this. Those are the statements you will find in the scenario that will point to self-interest. Someone is going to make a decision because at the end of the day, they will benefit from that decision. Is that clear, Rachel?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Then self-review. Self-review, it's because maybe you are on the same team, someone has prepared the work, and you're reviewing it on the same team. Or you are the same person who prepared the work, and again you're supposed to review it. So you are going through your own work. And the principle here is you cannot see mistakes in your own work. Even where you made a mistake, for you to think it is the right way to do it. So it becomes a self-review threat. Then advocacy, it is mostly with auditors, promoting the interests of your clients. And I always tell students that with advocacy, when your client wants to get a loan from a bank, you are the auditor, you go with these guys to the bank. And so, remember, you audited their financial statements, right? And the bank requested for those financial statements. So at the end of the day, if you are to find an issue in those financial statements, can you point it out? Can you? Of course you can't, because you went ahead and met the bank team, confirmed that these books were fine, these guys secured a loan, and 2 months down the road they can't refinance the loan. All the ratios are not being met. The covenants are going to be breached. But because you promoted the interest of your client, you are compromised to bring out all the issues in the financial statements. That is advocacy. Then familiarity, it is always having that close relationship with someone, which comes up, of course, maybe due to longer periods of working together or being a family. And so we always get familiarity issues when we see, okay, the accountant has been in the position for the last 15 years. The supplier has also been there. These guys have now become a friend. You see, they are now friends. So even when it comes to payments, these suppliers' payments are always very fast. And then we see some money coming to the accountant. Or you've been the auditor of the firm for very many years. And so even when this guy makes a mistake, you're like, I think I can just forgive. He's my friend. Let me not point it out. Maybe you are the supervisor of someone. You've worked for so long. You always go for lunch together. And so when they make wrong reconciliations, you always keep a blind eye and just sign because they are your friend. So long-term working relationships always create the familiarity concept, or even closeness in terms of family. Birunji, is that clear?
Yes, sir, it's very clear.
Then intimidation. Now with intimidation, we talk about actual intimidation. You have to be very, very, very keen when identifying intimidation. Oh, this is very frustrating. Mutiaba, I know you are good at these things. What can I do to have my windows back? So here can be actual or perceived. Or perceived intimidation. So when it comes to intimidation, someone threatens you. You guy, you've just joined us. I'm telling you, you make this accounting treatment, you're refusing because you're studying SCCA. Okay, let me wait for your end. I will not sign your evaluation form. Okay, You see, if you don't do it like this, we shall not get the profits, and so we shall not earn the we shall not earn the bonus. See, guy, I'm your boss. If you don't do the way I've told you to do it, I'm going to dismiss you. Now that is actual intimidation. Someone is threatening. Now, with perceived intimidation, the guy tells you, man, this accounting treatment, make sure that all these expenses, you capitalize them. You know IAS 16 says all expenses that are not directly attributable to the asset should be expensed, should go to P&L. The guy tells you, okay, make sure that you capitalize all these ones, take them to statement of financial position. Remember, we have end year party, so please act very well. You see, they've not told you that, okay, if you don't do it, you won't go for end of year party or you won't get the bonus, but they just remind you that there is a bonus at end of year. They tell you what to do, which is wrong. They attach it to something positive without actually telling that if you don't do it, you won't get this. Now, that is perceived intimidation. So with the intimidation, make sure that you identify the actual one, which is threatening, and then the perceived one, where someone puts you in a situation to compromise your integrity because there's something that is attached to the decision that you make. Does that make sense, Rachel?
It does.
Now let us apply the concept. We have 1 hour. That is enough. For me, what is important is first to know the flow, and then after, let us apply the flow. That's when we can be able to get the marks. Okay, we can read through. I'm going to ask Birunji Daniel, are you able to read?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so this is the approach for all the questions that you'll be doing, right from question 1 to question 4. You start with looking at the question. Don't read the exhibit. There's nothing. You first read the question, know what the question wants, identify which exhibit applies to that question, then go and apply, then go and look for that exhibit and look out for the answers. So we are going to try out part A. Remember what Anna talked about? Make sure that you have shorter headings for all your answers. So you come and say part A, and we always get these shorter headings from the question. Discuss ethical and professional dilemmas for the financial accountant in overseeing the loans made to customers and appropriate actions to be taken. Warning, some questions won't ask for this, but even if they remain silent, make sure that you give the actions. That is a given. Okay, so we need the ethical. Instead of going through this, let me just copy this. You see, for the professional accountant, that is very important. So we shall say the ethical and professional dilemmas. Of course, with the ethical ones, we shall just pick out the principles and all. Then for the professional dilemmas, we just have to identify what is not right. From what you're reading, what is not right. Then we put a comment on that. That will be the professional dilemma. Okay, so we have 8 marks. What we need is, remember, we need the ethical and professional dilemmas, but also need the actions. We shouldn't forget that. This word here, and, make sure this shows that there are 2 questions in one. You get me, students? That means there are 2 questions in one. So we must have another heading. So I can say the first one is this, under part A. Then also under part B, under part A, we'll also have actions, appropriate actions to be taken. You should be able to split because of that and. Okay, appropriate actions to be taken. Alright. So, can we now go and read? Let us go and read the scenario. And of course, now with this one, we should be able to identify, discuss the ethical, you see, overseeing the loans made to customers. So, Birunji Daniel, overseeing the loans made to customers. Are we going to read all the exhibits, or we have to identify that given exhibit?
Uh, we have to go to the particular exhibit.
Perfect. So, and what is the identifier? Loans made to
Loans.
customers. It pushes us to exhibit 1. In some questions, they will tell you the exhibit number. Using exhibit 1, discuss ethical and professional dilemmas. Here, it was silent, but it is there. Okay, can you please take us through that? Whichever point you think we should take to our answer, we should pick it out. Okay.
Hmm. Yes. Exhibit 1, loans to customers. The financial accountant of Reshnuko, an SCCA member, is responsible for overseeing the authorization of small loans.
Before going there, do you think this is just for just?
I think it's a powerful point to show us that the accountant is qualified and they understand the accounting.
Perfect. It has reminded me that in our approach, it's better we give what we call an introductory statement. Okay? Introductory statement, which is always reference to the SCCA code of conduct, right? And protecting the interests of the owners of the business. So here you can say, as accountants, okay, both students and professionals and qualified should act in accordance with the SCCA code of conduct. I know when you watch the revision sessions on the LMS, I use different terminologies when I'm giving the introductory statement. But what is the concept? Are you able to provide an introduction statement that emphasizes the need of the accountants to act in a way or to follow the SCCA code of conduct when making their decisions? To act in accordance with the SCCA code of conduct and to protect the interests of the users of financial statements by providing useful, relevant and faithful financial statements. You can use your own words, but that is a strong introductory statement. Regardless of whether the scenario as talked about, this is a professional accountant or what, this is also a free mark for you to earn by referring to the code of conduct or ethics, the code of ethical conduct. All right, you can proceed, Daniel.
Yes. Is responsible for overseeing the authorization of small loans of up to $500 to customers for use on their gaming app. Jamie Play.
Yeah.
He is paid a commission based on the number of loans granted in a period.
You see, when we see commission, when we see bonuses, you get? When we see commission and bonuses, what comes to your mind?
Self-interest.
Self-interest. But now we cannot say this is self-interest until when we get to know the gist, the actual situation in the scenario, right? But it is a red flag. There is commission based on number of loans granted. So is this guy going to act dirty so they can get the commission? We have to get to know that. All right. Can we proceed before we pick out that as a point?
The effective interest rate on the loan is approximately 1,076% per annum. However, if the loan is paid back within 1 month, there is no interest charged.
Okay.
Customers apply for short-term loans via the online portal, which gives them an instant decision as to whether the loan is approved.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence systems, in brackets AI, which have been subject to frequent cyber attacks, are used in this process. Currently, the laws on consumer credit in the jurisdiction only allow such loans where the creditworthiness of the applicant has been checked.
So what is not correct here? And you see, we're looking for professional dilemmas, right?
Yes.
Which principle talks about laws and regulations?
Due care.
Is it professional competence and due care? Are you sure?
Professional behavior.
Professional behavior, right? It talks about following the applicable laws and regulations and not discrediting the profession, right? So, you see, the examiner is going to fragment the statements. It is your role to join them, not so. Currently, the laws on consumer credit in the jurisdiction only allow such loans where the creditworthiness of the applicant has been checked, correct? So who can tell me what is being done that is wrong, that these guys are not following the laws? Who has seen it?
The system automatically approves the loans.
Perfect. You see, the system automatically, is paid. Okay. Customers apply for short-term loans via online portal, which gives them an instant decision as to whether the loan is approved. Don't you see those two statements are linked, right? And they speak to professional what? Professional behavior, not so. So I'm going to pick this statement. You see, I've not picked the one for commission because so far, no confirmation that this guy has any self-interest, right? So far, nothing. So I can't take it. So I'm going to come here, put that. I also pick this. Come and put it down here. Rachel, is the linkage clear?
Yes, it is, especially with the confirmation, because I thought the first point would be commission basing on loans approved.
How?
But now I understand. Okay,
Yes.
I thought like if you identify a threat, then in your mind you can, I don't know, you can imagine what could happen. But from what you are explaining,
Yes.
it seems as if you have to actually refer to what they are talking about that happened in the scenario.
That is it. You get it? So far, this guy is paid commission, not so, which is understandable in the market, right? And so he has not given out any dubious loans, has he? So far, he has not. So we cannot crucify him. But at least here we can say the system automatically approves. Yes, yet the law wants it. Yet the law wants clear creditworthiness to be checked. So the law and what is being done, they are not in line. So there's a professional behavior issue, right? Okay, Daniel, can you continue?
Yes. There are two groups of customers, Group A and B. who have different social demographics. The financial accountant has full knowledge of the AI system and knows the credit approval system is positively biased in favor of Group A. He defends this practice by saying that it gives Group A a chance to improve their financial position.
So, what is the problem? Because you see here, we can't say that he's doing this to earn the commission, not so. He would have done that if it was the case. He would be giving loans to both, right?
Yes.
So what is the problem here? He knows it is favoring the other guy. But he goes ahead and says, we are trying to improve. Even before reading the next statement, because the next step even makes it very easy. Can you read it?
Group A is known to have less wealthy than Group B and is less likely to be able to afford to pay back the loan within a month.
You see? He knows he's trying to defend, well knowing this guy cannot pay back. So what is the issue? Who can identify the issue for sure? What's likely to be the issue?
Could the
Integrity.
issue have, yeah, integrity.
Is not straightforward and honest, right?
Yes.
Because he should make sure that since he's in charge of the system, then he should be able to identify this challenge and make sure that these two guys have the same what? The same chances, right? Okay. So we are going to look at integrity issues. So we pick it from where? From here. From here. Up to there. Then we come and talk about is not straightforward and honest. So here I can say integrity. Then we come and push it here. Okay. What else? Because I see we have 1 and 2 issues, right? Integrity, professional behavior. And remember we have actions, so we can give actions 2 marks and then 6 marks for this part. So since we have two principles breached, that is enough. Are we able to identify any threat? Which threat could be available in this scenario? Who can tell us? Do you think him continuing to... Where is the challenge on AI? Do you think this guy is not pointing out the issue with the AI since he knows if it is put down, he will not earn the commission? Is that possible? Is that possible, students?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
He knows if this AI system is put down, he will likely not earn his commission, right? So the threat is self what? Is it self-interest? Is it self-review? Is it intimidation? Is it familiarity? Who can tell me?
Self-interest.
Self-interest. So I'm going to pick out this commission thing here. And I talk about my threat. Talk about my threat here. Self-interest. I put that. Then I'm going to look for the point that talks about the AI. Where is it? Customers apply for artificial intelligence systems which have been subject to frequent cyber attacks are being used in the process. I'm going to pick that out because it is a very good point, right? This guy knows these are subject to cyber attacks. They even have issues, but he's not pointing it out. So I'm going to bring that here, there. Then I also come and pick this one of him keeping quiet, of defending, where customers apply for who have different perfect here. Here, financial position. Maybe I will pick it from here, from there. When I'm drafting it, I should be able to bring it out very well. I need only 6 points. Assuming that I've drafted very well my points. In fact, I only need 3 points because each point can earn you 2 marks. So I've identified self-interest. I don't need to exhaust the points. So I have 1. In fact, I have the introduction. Professional behavior, integrity, then self-interest. Now I can focus on the actions. And of course, with the actions, where is it? Somewhere. Do we have any professional competence issue? I think it is not there. I saw most of you are saying professional competence and all, but there's a way this guy. Did they talk about the guy knowing AI? Where is it?
On that, Ivan, on that AI thing.
Yes, I'm trying to look for background information. Resco develops gaming apps for which customers are encouraged to buy enhancements and add-on to Play Store more effectively. The company's current financial loans to customers. Yes, you're saying?
On that statement of AI systems which have been subject to frequent cyber attacks are used in this process, then there are a breach of confidentiality in that. Because if they're prone to cyber attacks, that means they can disclose information about the company.
That is too remote. We are overthinking, which I want us to avoid, right?
Oh, okay.
Yes, maybe what we would talk about is the professional dilemma. Remember, we said that these guys should protect the interests of the users, right? And so it wouldn't be more of a principal breach, but it's a professional dilemma. That if, since you know there are issues with AI, right? There are cyber attacks. Why do you continue? Why don't you flag it all? Why don't you flag this issue to management, right? Other than continuing to even defend its what? Other than even continuing to defend the continued use. So you can talk about a professional dilemma, right? Of talking about of saying okay, here we can pick it out, this, but also pick out the unfairness, yeah, as a professional dilemma. You get me? This,
okay.
And also we merge it with the biasness. Where is it? You see, here they told you the accountant has full knowledge of AI system, not so. So can you say there's any professional competence issue? Someone raised it in your answers. That can't be correct, right? Since they know. So it's not a professional competence issue. Maybe you can say here biased here. So it's a professional dilemma. It's a professional dilemma that we can explain here. It's a professional dilemma. Maybe I can say professional dilemma as my heading here. Professional. We can say failure to or can say failure on fiduciary duties, because there are attacks. So the issue of loss of information, and also there's this biasness, and so you're not protecting the interests of what? Of client of group B. Okay, So when it comes to the actions, what do you think are the feasible actions for what we've read here? Students, what do you think are the feasible actions? Can I give you a hint? This guy, he knows the law, right? What is the requirement of the law? You check creditworthiness, right? He knows the weakness in the system. What does the system do? It gives the loans without check creditworthiness, right? So don't you think he needs to discuss this with management so that now the system, because remember I said we talk about the internal safeguards first, right? So let him discuss with management about this automatic what? With this instant decision. Let them adjust it such that the loans are now approved when creditworthiness has been made. And realize that maybe he's even keeping quiet because he wants to earn the commission. Far-fetched. But it can also be a point of view that is self-interest why this guy is not disclosing these facts. Because if that happens, then he would not be able to make the sale. So our action would be internal discussion, right? Discussion. We can be able to expound on this. Discussion. Discuss with management to either, in fact, discuss with management the law that requires I'll use the same words, that requires consumer credit. I'll just pick this, then I can be able to expound on it during my explanations. That require, then I will just come and check on that. So if these guys, remember I only need 2 points on actions. I fought for 6 marks, which are 3 points to earn me 6 marks. Then here I need only 2 points to earn me the 2 marks. So I would give only 1, the discussion. Then I would say, if these guys don't listen, what should I do? Discuss with who? With SCCA, not so? Is that correct? Discuss with SCCA on whether he should discuss with SCCA on whether he should, and what? He should disclose to the regulator, right? The breach in law about credit approval process. Because you see, you can discuss with management. Of course, I'm going to phrase. You can discuss with management and they fail to act. So here, the point would be, the disclaimer would be, if no action on policy, on approval policy, the accountant should discuss with SCCA. Is that correct? Should discuss as a last resort. As a last resort, the accountant should consider resigning so that he protects the membership image of the SCCA. That is, if nothing happens, SCCA does not support you, you could choose to resign. Those are three, of course, actions. Are we able to follow through the approach? Birunji, is it clear?
Yes, it's clear, though I wanted to get some guidance on whether this part of the actions to be taken, whether we should look at it from the angle of the accountant or the angle of the company itself or the company of the auditor.
This is from the angle of the accountant, and I'm going to show you how this is coming up. See, discuss the ethical and professional what? Dilemmas for the financial accountant, right? In overseeing the loans made to customers and appropriate actions to be taken, right? So this is the angle of the financial accountant. This should not confuse you. See, discuss with management the law that requires consumer. You see, when he discusses with management, right? My here I expect to do what? Okay, maybe I would say this would support in change of the approval policy, right? So at the end of the day, who's benefiting? So that no breach. So that no breach of what? No breach of law happens. So when that happens, don't you think it is the accountant who's being safe now?
Yes, the accountant would be protected.
Yes. So the actions should be for the accountant because this is what they asked for, and the appropriate actions to be taken. Okay, you're facing the professional behavior of not following the law. What is the action? Discuss with the management, change the policy, not so. That is an action. Is that okay?
Yes. Would it be okay to also recommend for an internal review to be done on the approval process?
Of course, that is it is here. It depends. You see how you explain it. It will be under this. You're discussing with the management, right? For them to
Yes.
look at the process and the laws, so they can now amend their process.
Okay. I now understand it.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, do you want me to show you how we can now? The truth is, students, Rachel, here we do not have any mark so far with these ones. Do you know what? Do you know why?
Because of that, because we didn't use definitions and explanations.
Not really. We don't need definitions or explanations, but we just have extracts from the exhibit, right? These are not our answers. These are statements of the examiner, right? You can only earn a mark if you rephrase these statements and put them in your own words. Do you get me?
Yes.
So let me show you how we do that. So this is professional behavior, right? And I told you we don't give marks for definitions. So for you can't say professional behavior is this and this and this, and therefore no mark for that. But you have to bring it out. You have to bring out the concept in your explanations. I'll show you. Okay? It is observed that customers apply for short-term loans via an online portal. Okay? You see how I'm removing the words of the examiner and what? And you see an instant decision as to whether the loan is approved is made. Is that correct? Is made. However, then I'm going to bring in this. I'm going to remove this. However, However, the laws on consumer credit in the jurisdiction only allow such loans where creditworthiness of the applicant has been checked. Okay, this shows that the accountant, we should use the words given in the what? In the exhibit. They call him a financial accountant, right? So you must use the same. The financial accountant charged with, okay, I'm going to pick his role. Charged with, I'm going to pick, or you can even use the same words, responsible, here. I'll say control copy. In fact, even this SCA member is important. So I'll just come and pick all that. Come and put it here. So I would say I'll put that extract as is. Then I say this shows that the accountant, comma, an SCA member, okay, responsible for overseeing the authorization of. Now I'm going to use the name of the entity names. Entity name. What is the entity name? Rushko, because I want to show the examiner that, you know what, I understood whatever statement you made in the scenario. So I would say the financial accountant responsible for overseeing the authorization of, I put here, of Rushko small loans of up to $50 to customers for use on their gaming app, okay. This shows that the has failed to guide or has failed to comply with the jurisdictional laws for credit approval process. Rachel, have I tried to bring out the point?
Yes. Yes.
Without defining what professional behavior is, right?
Mm.
And have I used the answer? Have I picked my answer from the exhibit?
Yes.
Because
Yes, you did.
when the examiner is reading, he will see credit, consumer credit, we'll see rational, we'll see a CCA member. So it is typical application. You will see the amount, right? Typical.
Mm.
So it can give you the 2 marks well like easily. Let me show you how we can draft it. Okay, who can craft for us this one for integrity? I'll give you a chance. Anyone? Anyone who can try? Birunji, you want to try? Okay. The financial accountant with full knowledge of the AI system, okay? The financial accountant with full knowledge of the AI system and well aware that the credit approval system is positively biased in favor of group A, okay, has continued to defend the practice by saying that it gives group A a chance to improve their financial position. Okay, this fails his professional requirement to be honest and straightforward in all the business dealings. Okay, it creates a professional challenge of biasness and in fact the question is biasness is under what? Is it being objectivity? Not so. I'm even seeing another point. Of integrity. You can even use also what? Objectivity. And we say this creates a professional challenge of biasness, knowing that they talked about this guy not being able to pay. You see, this one here is known to have less wealth than group B and is less likely to afford to pay back. You see, so even is not even objective. Students, are we picking that up as well? It creates a professional challenge of biasness, knowing that group A is known to have less wealth than group B and is less likely to be able to afford to pay back the loan within a month. Have I been able to speak to someone with the presentation flow I've tried to show you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Elizabeth, any comment? Elizabeth, any comment? Okay, I think someone is already tired. Perfect. So self-interest, this one you can proceed and see how you can draft it, because I've already given you the answers. Just rephrase them, make sure that they flow, and don't leave your answers with extracts from the examiner points. Okay, so if no question, I've tried.
Ivan,
Yes, please.
I just wanted to know. Now this question has 8 marks.
Yes.
So I'm seeing you gave let me see, 1, 2.
This one I gave it 6 marks.
Uh,
6 marks, okay. And on average, you only need 3 points. 2 marks per point. But it has to be a wealthy point to get the 2 marks.
Okay.
You get it? So
Yes.
I looked at the introduction, looked at professional behavior, looked at integrity. I even still have more points under what? Self-interest, right? Even failure on what? So you're safe.
Okay. You said 2 marks per point.
Yeah, 2 marks per point here.
Okay.
But it should be a wealthy point where you give us what is in the scenario. Okay. After that, how does it relate to professional behavior? Because for me, I've told you this is happening, right? Now, how does it become a professional behavior issue? I've said has failed to comply with the jurisdictional laws of what? Without defining professional behavior, you get me? So 1 mark for what is happening and 1 mark for how you link it to the concept you've created. Is that okay?
Yes, yes, that's okay.
It's not about writing many points. It's how you build your point. And remember here we have 2 professional marks, right? In question 2. So making sure that you've linked your question very well, you've understood the scenario, you have shorter headings would help you. The presentation will help you get the 2 professional marks. Any other question, students? I think I have Elizabeth who is quiet on call. I have Rachel, she's active. Lillian, any question for me? Or I move forward? Ruben?
No question from my side.
Yes, the truth is, what I'm doing now does not help you. It is the actual doing. So can you look at what we've discussed? Look at what you presented. That is called debriefing, right? Once you're done, check and see where you can improve. So that in the question I'm going to share tonight, you are able to attempt it, then share it over the weekend for me to mark. I should see a difference in the way you approach the question. Is that okay, students?
Yes.
All right. So we've agreed. I'm going to share another question on ethics. Make sure that you attempt it and share for marking over the weekend. Let us have this out on Saturday. Each of you should have shared your work so I can mark on Sunday and Monday. Then by Thursday, in fact, because on Saturday I'm going to share another question, which is question 3. So Saturday I share question 3, so you must have submitted your ethics question 2. I mark. On Monday I share your ethics question. Tuesday I share your question 3 attempt. So that on Thursday we go through question 3. That will be very important. Don't say that you have too much time. Some of you are now still covering content. So what you do, as you do the questions I've given you, find time to do extra numbers from the ethics side. And where you feel I should mark, send through on WhatsApp. I should be able to give you feedback. Is that okay, students? That's how you can
Yes.
benefit. Please, SBR is not about reading concepts. Yes, Birunji?
No, I was saying that I agree with the approach.
Okay. So let us just run through part B. I'll just run through it very fast, okay? Just for you to pick out the points. And now, because this is now accounting. This is accounting. So long as you know your standards, remember we have this methodology, SAC. Birunji, what is SAC? When attempting questions on accounting standards?
Uh, what I know, S is for state,
State,
apply, and conclude.
apply, and conclude, right?
Yes.
Where state is from the standard, apply is the concept from the scenario, and then conclusion is you are trying to tell the examiner, you see what you asked me, this is the end of it, right? I'm going to give you a flow. These are 4 marks, so I only need at least 2 strong points from the exhibit, and I get my mark. Okay, Rachel, are you able to read?
Yes, I am.
Yes, we know that IS 38 is on intangible assets, right?
Yes, it is.
When it comes to intangible assets, they are, how do you define intangible assets?
Intangible assets are not physical.
But what is the definition?
Um, I don't remember it often.
Anyone who can remind us?
They are non-monetary items that can be reliably measured with no physical substance.
Non-monetary assets with no physical substance, right?
Yeah.
And you see, when you're approaching these questions on standards, remember when discussing standards, we look at the definition, right? We
Mm.
look at initial recognition, right? We look at measurement. We look at, of course, initial measurement and subsequent measurement, right? We also look at derecognition, not so?
Mm.
And for some of them, we have disclosures, right? So the examiner the examiner will not set all those different sections in the standard. They'll either set for you initial recognition, subsequent measurement, or they'll set for you derecognition. Is that okay? So it is upon you to identify from which section of the standard as the examiner set the question. And so you focus on that angle only, not discussing anything that you know about a standard. So when it comes to IS 38, it deals with non-monetary, non-physical assets. And it tells you, for you, before you recognize an intangible asset, before you recognize an asset as an intangible asset, make sure that the recognition criteria is passed. Is that correct? And so on your fingerprints, on your fingertips, who can remind us what are the recognition criteria from IS 38? What are those points? Because you need them. Anyone?
Economic benefit.
Economic?
Benefit.
What is it about?
It's about the company being able to enjoy economic benefit from the asset.
Okay. But there's before we go to economic benefits, there is the first one.
Control.
Control.
Yes. Being able to have control over the use of the asset.
Okay, let me challenge you. I see now, because it's very important. While I have them on my fingertips, but let me show you the source so that you don't. Let me share. Let me share. You know, we should be proactive. I should show you what to do right from here. Allow me share this. Please, are you able to see where I'm typing? IS 38 technical article. When you get lost somewhere, just go do that. SCCA IS 38 technical article. So I'll come to this one. Of course, there are these standards that are for FR and those for SBR, but realize that these ones, of course, IS 38 is a presumed knowledge from FR level, so we can use this. So I'll come to, this is for development costs. I don't know if you have a development cost, but I need one for initial recognition here. Okay, here they are telling us that the entity must determine whether it meets the recognition criteria. An intangible asset can only be recognized if it is probable that expected future economic benefits, okay, that are attributed to the asset will flow to the entity, and the cost of the asset can be measured. I was looking for the cost. You see that? Of course, once you've known that this is an intangible asset, you've talked about control already. You conduct the use of the asset, right? But what is very important is am I going to be able to get economic benefits from the use of this asset? And then 2, am I able to measure the cost of the asset reliably? So these 2 points should really appear in your answer, in addition to the definition of an intangible asset. Here, someone told us it is a unidentifiable monetary, non-monetary asset without physical substance. Is that okay, students? Let us go to the scenario so that I can break it down for you. I'll need to change. Yes,
Ivan,
yes, please.
I was just sorry to take you back. There's something that you are saying about the approach of approach for these standard questions. Can you
Yes.
please repeat it? You said definition.
Okay, give me a second. I want to stop sharing so that I can give you the Word document. So you're asking about the SAC, right? You're asking about the SAC, right? Or you're talking
No,
about for IS 38?
no, just you said like when we are approaching a standard
Mm,
specifically,
mm.
we do the definition. We have to look out for the definition, initial measurement. So
Eh, when you're reading a standard, okay,
mm,
we always talk about, of course, the definition. If it is IS 38, what is an intangible asset? You must know it, right? Then
yes,
initial recognition. That is covered, right?
yes,
What should we consider for us to initially to recognize an asset, right? Then what we call under initial recognition is why it's also where we talk about the initial measurement. Is it at cost? Is it at fair value? You get? Is it at purchase price? So under initial recognition, we shall deal with the criteria and also the measurement, right? Initially measured
yes,
at cost, then subsequent measurement. We have 2
okay,
models, right? We have the cost model and the version model, right? So interesting.
yes,
Someone told me in their answer that we have cost model and valuation model as per IFRS 6, as per IS 16. Really? But also, this guy has told you recognized, not so? Are you seeing this? Recognized, right? Discuss whether customer base and domain name should be recognized. So is this from measurement or it's from recognition now?
recognition.
So you cannot discuss measurement. And okay, and how? Whenever we see and here, it means there are 2 questions, right? So you need to first discuss recognition, and shall give it 2 marks. Then you discuss also measurement, not so? But now in this time around, this measurement, students, and how the purchase price should have been allocated in accordance with IFRS 3 business combination. And when they talk about business combination, that is fair what? Not so? Because we say all assets must be measured at fair value during business combination, right? Fair value. So you just have to tell us about IFRS 13. Now let these guys allocate it based on IFRS 13 fair value of those assets. No need of details because this is only 2 marks. 2 what? 2 marks. Measurement as per, not even as per IS 38. No, it is as per IFRS 3, which talks about fair value, and so take us to this and challenge what they are doing. We can try it out. Discuss whether the customer databases and domain names should be recognized under IS 38 intangible assets. So we have recognition of customer database and domain names. So we can go and see what is happening in the what? In the scenario. Lillian, can you please read for us the scenario? Where is intangible assets? Which scenario is it? Which scenario is it? Which scenario is it? It is this one. Acquisition of assets. Can you please read for us and repeat points?
Okay. That is exhibition 2.
Exhibit 2.
Okay. Renchco has purchased a company which comprised a customer database and a number of domain names which do not constitute a business.
Now,
Therefore,
1 second. When you read this, okay, and your knowledge of IFRS 3, what does it mean? Because this is very important. What does it mean here? And there's a free mark here. What can you pick from there? Here. We can say, can put it somewhere here. But SBR is really easy if you are very focused. We have this statement. Rachel, what does it mean?
Does it have to do with the acquisition, like valuing?
Yes, this is an internal. These two, these two are internally generated assets for the subsidiary. Is that correct?
yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. But what does IFRS 3 say when it comes to this? That if it is business combination, any internally generated intangible asset must be recognized by the parent as an intangible asset. Is that correct? Is that correct, students? During business combination, okay, we know that IAS 38 does not allow recognition of internally generated intangible assets. Is that correct? But IFRS 3 says if a parent company buys off a subsidiary and this subsidiary had internally generated intangible assets, those intangible assets are treated as intangible assets in the books of the parent. They now move from being internally generated now to purchased what? Assets. You get me, students? So that is going to help us get the 2 marks. But you can move forward with the scenario, with the exhibit.
Okay. Therefore, Renchco has to allocate the purchase price to the individual identifiable assets in accordance with IFRS 3 business combination.
Perfect. We can pick, this is also allowed. We can pick and put it here. I'll show you how you can get your marks from that statement.
The customer database relates to a contractual agreement whereby Renchco receives a commission for referring customers to online gaming websites.
Okay.
Renchco either receives an upfront payment for every customer referred to the gaming websites, or it receives a share of revenue streams based on the referred customer's further usage.
Perfect. Now, what are they trying to give you here? Is it the economic benefits?
Yes.
So I can just pick everything. We shall have to delete it. But this is on. You see there is a contractual arrangement, right?
Yes.
And there is economic benefit, right? So the question is, does it mean at least now the customer database passes the definition of an intangible asset, even the criteria? Yes, right?
Mm.
Can you move to the next one?
The acquired assets also include a number of domain names for websites which have gaming content.
The acquired assets also include a number of domain names for websites which have gaming content. I remember, what is their business? They're into gaming, right? So when they use these in their gaming business, so there is also value. Now look at this. There's also value. But I know the deal maker is this is business combination, right? And so since these guys, they will have economic benefits, then they should be recognized. Of course, their statement is on measurement. What are they saying about measurement?
Reshco had arbitrarily allocated the purchase price for the company to the two intangible assets, that is the domain names and customer databases, on a 50-50 basis.
Okay, so this is going to fall through our measurement. Now I show you how you can get your free marks. Okay, so we are going to say that you need the definition as per IAS 38, right? An intangible asset is, you see, it is after getting all the extras from the scenario, then you can go the SAC way, right? An intangible asset is a non-monetary asset without physical substance. I now have forgotten the identifiable. Is unidentifiable? Is unidentifiable non-monetary asset without physical substance. Since this is about recognition, you say it requires that an asset is recognized as intangible asset if it can generate economic benefits and the costs can be estimated reliably. Full stop. Now we are to apply. Okay, but I think we can't forget that IFRS 3, okay, we can say while IAS 38 does not allow recognition of internally generated intangible assets. Okay, IFRS 3 allows any internally when it comes to any internally generated asset to be recognized during business combination. However, what is the name of the company? RN Renshaw needs to confirm that these meet the recognition criteria. Now let us evaluate. Daniel, is this too much to ask for? Or it is possible with practice?
I believe it's possible with practice.
Because it makes sense, right?
Yes. I appreciate the way we are linking 38 with 3. Yeah, it's very good.
Okay. Araco has purchased a company which comprised 2. So this one I do not need it because I'm going to evaluate. Okay. This one I'm also going to avoid the created flow. The customer base relates to, okay, the customer base database relates to a contractual arrangement whereby Araco receives a commission. Okay, we can say Rensco has control over the what? Over the, let me see. Let me not even go that side. The customer database relates to a contractual arrangement whereby Rensco receives a commission for referring to Rensco either receives an upfront every customer or receives a share of revenue. This implies that there are economic benefits that can accrue from the use of the database. Then furthermore, the database, the acquired assets. Okay, maybe the acquired assets. No, I don't need this. Furthermore, the domain names for websites having gaming content can provide significant benefits to Renshu since it already deals in. They told me what these guys deal in, so I'll just come and pick the wording in the background. It is important to read the background here. So I'll come and add that here. You see, I'm trying to get all my explanations from the scenario. I don't have to really struggle with the explanation points. Furthermore, the domain names for websites having gaming content can provide significant benefits to Rational since, then I'll use their word since it develops gaming apps for which customers are encouraged to buy and enhancements and add-ons to play most effectively. As such, the domain names can host these games. Does it make sense? And is it from the scenario? You can tell me, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Carlos, You see, I've stated, I've applied, now I'm going to conclude. And the conclusion is answering this question. Conclusion is answering the question. Therefore, since the customer databases and domain names, okay, meet the recognition criteria, okay, they should be recognized under IS 38 intangible assets in Renshu's books or in Renshu's financial statements. Colors done. This is the conclusion. I have stated, I've applied, and I've concluded. Now I can come and answer this. I would say, okay, since the intangible assets are recognized in the business combination, there is need to consider their fair value. As such, Renshu should consider applying IFRS 13 to determine the fair value of the assets rather than the 50 what? Rather than the 50 to 50 basis. Colors, I don't want to write so much, but there's out you can write even, but you only have 2 marks, right? You don't have to exhaustively provide answers. You just have to pick out the easy marks. We call them freely hanging fruits. In whatever you're doing, earn the freely hanging fruits first, because you won't have so much time. Remember, this is 20 marks. Question 2 is 20 marks. So 20 marks times 1.8, that is 30 minutes. So in your practice, when you're doing these numbers, first go and read about ethics. Revise all your standards. Then attempt this question I'm going to share. But during the attempting session, make sure that you have no books, you have nothing, and you have a timer on your phone. Once the 30 minutes are done, stop and submit. That discipline starts from here. Don't cheat yourself. Once the 30 minutes are done, even if you've done part A, submit that one to me. Then after a few hours, go and debrief that question. See where you delayed, what happened, was it a standard challenge? Go back and read that standard. Then go and do another question. That is the approach. You attempt the question under exam conditions. Whichever match you've covered, stop there. You realize that if you develop that discipline, when you do it in the first question, the second question you try to cover something much. In the third question, you'll be almost finishing. In the fourth question, you'll be done with the issue of managing the time. But if you don't develop that discipline now, it will be very challenging for you to finish the paper in the actual exam. Is that okay, students? Daniel, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. So please, unless you have any question for me, have a good evening. I'm sharing an ethics question this night. Submit by Saturday, and Saturday I will share another question question 3 format now that we shall revise on Thursday next week. Please have a good evening.